back to the pod. Now, we got a bunch of stuff at the Aurora. Chief among them was the Mark 1 depth upgrade for the sea moth, which means we can now go to the Purple Cave, also called Jelly Shroom Cave, because the depth in and around there is about 300 meters, so real handy. Sea moth gives us some protection against baddies, but it's also basically a mobile oxygen tank, so don't forget that. We also have the storage upgrade, which lets us pack a bunch of stuff around with us. So I think we did all in all pretty good for our first run at the Aurora. Basically, Captain's Quarters is the only thing left. And we will eventually get the code for that. Let's see, what are we looking at here? There is a small debris field here, looks like. Not see anything we just have to have. Some metal salvage. Metal salvage. Be sure if you are having trouble getting those stalker teeth that you watch my stalker tooth video. It's an excerpt from part 4 of this playthrough. What do we have here? It's an egg. You know what? I'm going to pick that up. That's our first egg. And that's got us full. I don't remember what kind of egg that is. We'll eventually have the ability to hatch it. So we'll find out when it hatches, I guess. Alright, back into the sea moth we go. You do want to hatch the eggs. It's a lot of fun. It's a neat little, I guess, mini game, you could call it. Sorry, fishes. Please avoid the sea moth, please. Thank you. There's a lot of Gary fish out right now. There's 1, 2, 3. I don't usually see that many all at once. Anywho. There's a shoal of baby boomerangs. I love that. Alright, so we are now back at the base. Let's see what we want to get up to now. We made a successful Aurora run. We have a whole bunch of stuff. We have a creature egg. We have a Cyclops efficiency module, which is pretty nice. We have an almost empty fire extinguisher, some batteries that need charging, etc. So let me see. Let's go ahead and put the things that have batteries that need charging in our inventory so we can hot swap. Okay, looks good. Let's go ahead and get out. Sea moth, so 90%, that's fine. You know what? We can go ahead and charge it. Oh, inventory full. Never mind. All right.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Before we do that, take the battery out. Oh, of course. Our inventory is full. You notice there are some things that jumped into our inventory there. Those were things that were sort of queued up because we were full. The water in metal. We don't have any non-titanium. Keep a couple. We'll make a new locker most likely. All right. Take the battery out. Take the battery out. Take the battery out. Take the battery out. Looks good. Let's charge them. Less charged ones in there. Drop the power cell in. Batteries are working well. That one is pretty low. The power cell is now full. So that's good. Let's check the sea moth storage. Again, the little module adds this hatch up here for us, which is super, super handy. And we have a bunch of power cells in there. Gonna keep a power cell in. Remember, always keep an extra power cell with you. Oh, yeah. We'll leave that in there. And in fact, there's another thing that I always keep in there. because it's a super handy place to store it, and that is a beacon. So always keep a power cell, always keep a beacon in the sea moth storage. At least that's my opinion. Also, it's a good idea to keep some... Why is the water in there? Oops, made a mistake. Always a good idea to keep some food and water in there, just by default. And it's not a huge storage place, but you can put, you know, a fair amount of stuff in there. So always keep, like, couple water, couple food. In fact, probably not a bad idea to keep a couple med kits in there too. Which again, we're good on water. I mean food. So let me go ahead and ramp up our water. Okay. Now overflow. Let's throw in the stuffed toy, the hat, the flask, the posters, including, keep calm kitty, best poster, best item in the game, actually. I'm doing on battery. Doing okay. Our goal this episode is to probably go to the jelly shroom cave. The depth down there is about 300 meters. And we have the depth module that we got from the sea moth, so that's going to let us take it down there. Without the sea moth or some vehicle, going to jelly shroom is basically not advised. I guess you could use a pipe chain to get down there. You know, set up a floating pump. In fact, we could test that out. It takes a crap load of titanium, if memory serves. Is it a deployable? You get 5 pipes for 2 titanium. I mean, is that something worth doing? I mean, I'm sure it would work. It would just be incredibly clumsy. You know what I mean, Vern? Let's swap that out for a 100%er. And not a bad idea to put a couple full batteries in the old moth. Also, a couple med kits. And speaking of med kits, let's go up here. One is, I'm sure, made by now. Oh no. Our pod is, something has damaged it. Maybe that was us. Remember we accidentally crashed into it last time we were going out to the Aurora, isn't that right? I'll just save it. We do have a message on the radio. I guess we could play that. And we also need to, before we go to the cave, probably wouldn't be a bad idea to go to Lifepod 17. No, not 19. I don't know. The radio message is probably the sunbeam. So before we do that, because that kicks off a whole thing. See, I'm already ahead of myself. Okay. So yeah, I think what we will do, save it, is go to Lifepod 19. Yeah, that seems like a good plan. And I guess while we're going that way, because it's over 1 kilometer away, watch out, peeper, we'll be formulating our plans beyond this. So I'll just meet you over there. And when we get there, because we'll be in sort of a atmospheric area, I'll read some of these databank entries that I've been putting off. See you over there. There's another one of those peepers. This time we're not right by a vent, so what could that mean? All right, so we are almost to the Lifepod 19 location. We are about to cross 200 meters in depth. But because we have the handy dandy depth module Mark 1, we can survive it. You know, it looks like it's a little fiddly to get there, so let's see if we can't figure out the optimum strategy here. Yeah, so we're going to be close to our depth. Actually, no. Here it is. Oh, sorry. Why am I turning the light off? I'm turning the light off because you can see things better, like that are glowing, like that PDA. All right, so let's do this. Let's set up our slots the way we normally have them. And that looks pretty good. All right, now that we're here, I think it would be a good idea to save. And let's read some of these databank entries. I shouldn't have put them off as long as I have. I'm wanting to do kind of a theatrical version of this for the geological and life form data. And you'll see what I have in mind with that when it comes to fruition. But for now, let's just read everything that is yellow. Okay, we'll just catch up all of a sudden here. Alien eggs. Evidence suggests that a substantial number, if not all, of the local species reproduce through egg laying. Eggs can be found resting on the seafloor, buried beneath detritus, or even wedged into cracks in the rock. Different species likely favor different biomes as their nesting grounds. Eggs discovered in the wild are in some form of natural stasis, likely awaiting ideal conditions in which to hatch, or the delivery of some vital enzyme that will kickstart the process. It is impossible to calculate the species of the egg from the exterior. However, it may be possible to stimulate a hatching response if an egg is relocated to a suitable alien containment unit. And we will be able to do that at some point. All right, we have a operation log for the drive core shielding breach. The Aurora's drive core is shielded by a thick metal shell, which breached in multiple locations shortly after the crash. Once breached, it will continue to leak radiation into the surrounding environment until the breaches are sealed. After that point, the radiation in the environment will dissipate over time. This procedure should only be attempted with appropriate radiation protection and a fully charged repair tool, which we executed expertly. Geological data 4546b environment scan. Category 3 ocean planet. Oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere. Extensive biodiversity. Safety warnings. May support Leviathan class predators. Uh-oh. Water contaminated with high levels of foreign bacteria. Also uh-oh. And thirdly, planet is beyond Federation space. Rescue unlikely. Wasn't that just fantastic? It is not recommended to explore this environment without hazardous material suits and extensive support apparatus. Nice. Limestone outcrop. These unusual geological structures often form around titanium and copper deposits and are distinct to this planet. Closer analysis reveals the stone around the metal has been hardened against erosion, but the mechanism remains unknown. Assessment: titanium and copper source. Ruby. A hard blood-red gemstone made of aluminum oxide. Rubies may be processed in order to leverage their structural integrity in advanced vehicle construction and modification. Assessment: essential for advanced fabrication. Sandstone outcrops are common, porous outcrops that seem to form around small amounts of precious metals, or otherwise these metals are part of a sedimentary buildup over time. Assessment: lead, silver, and gold source. Scattered wreckage Analysis confirms this wreckage is from the Aurora. Outer layers of the material have oxidized, suggesting it has been heated to over 1200 Celsius. This pattern is consistent with hull disintegration during atmospheric entry. Salvage of intact portions of Alterra vessels is prohibited at legal, moral, and technical levels. However, scraps such as these may be reclaimed for their titanium content at any Alterra fabricator. Shale outcrops are sedimentary rock formed from flakes of clay minerals, inside of which rare metals such as lithium can be found. Geological conditions on this planet mean it tends to be found in deeper biomes. Gold, lithium, and diamond source. Huzzah! Coral shell plate. This variant of coral has adapted to survive in close proximity to other corals, filtering nutrients from the water and sharing them via a spore-like substance which grows around the base. No practical applications. Giant coral tubes. The variety of coral formations on 4546b appear to be different solutions to the same problem of maximizing water and nutrient flow throughout the colony. These particular variants funnel water down a tube, filtering nutrients as they pass. Their size suggests they have been highly successful. Assessment: coral tube samples are rich in calcium, exploitable in bleach fabrication. And that's worked out well for us. The biter, here he is, super cool dude. Vicious pack hunting predator, 94% muscle, holy moly, 4% connective tissue, 2% brain. Indiscriminate when hungry, almost always hungry. 1. Specialized olfactory antenna, employed in detection of bodily fluids in the water at impressive range. So he's the pee-pee smeller. Secondary pair of eyes, likely dedicated to detecting the peripheral movement of larger predators and hungry members of its own species. Yeah, check that out. That's pretty crazy. A lot of these 4546b critters have multiple eyes. 3. Overdeveloped tail fin. Favors outpacing and outnumbering their prey over individual maneuverability. Calculations suggest creatures up to 100 times the biter's body weight could succumb to a focused assault by a pack of 10. Assessment: avoid packs. Try not to bleed. Sage advice. The bone shark, there he is. This is big. This is much bigger than the sand shark. A large and powerful predator that lives in small groups and fiercely defends its hunting grounds. 1. Thickly armored exoskeleton. Suggests defensive adaptation either to larger predators or in-species aggression. Marked similarity to the segmented exoskeleton of the sand shark, suggesting a relatively recent common ancestor. 2. Large eyeballs. Let's check those out. Yep, pretty big. Consistent with high light sensitivity, likely for hunting of luminescent prey in low-light environments. Generally slow and unresponsive as a means of energy conservation, they will act with uncompromising speed and aggression against any threat to their territory. Assessment: avoid. May be distracted by light sources. Handy tip. Crashfish. You know, he's aggravating, but he's kind of cute. This unusual species has developed an emergency defense mechanism based on mutually assured destruction.
Was this story based? Yes.
Based. 1. Forward-mounted eye. Enables the creature to identify and track potential predators. Yeah, this one only has the one eye. Number 2, sulfur plant. The sulfur plant has evolved to feed on sulfuric compounds secreted by the crashfish, which makes its nest within its leaves. Stronger, more protective plants provide superior nesting grounds, which in turn provide the plant with more nutrients from larger crashfish. Number 3, defense mechanism. Concentrations of sulfur build up in the organism over time. If the crashfish collides with something at sufficient speed, the spikes on its torso are impacted, triggering an explosive chemical reaction. Assessment: equip stasis rifle, repulsion cannon, or similar before approaching shallow caves. Probably not a bad idea. And here is our buddy, the sand shark. This is the smaller shark that we have encountered, and my goodness, look at him. He likes to flail around and bite, which I guess that's a shark thing, right? The threat level indicator that you see there in the image in the upper right corner, that tells you some useful information. So this is a moderate threat. And the numbers of the items in the listing are actually here in the graphic if you look. So this, let's see what it says about the sand shark. A powerful medium-sized predator that burrows into the sand and ambushes its prey from below. As with many predators, it may be possible to temporarily distract sand sharks by feeding any hungry specimens that draw close. Okay. Number 1, the forward dorsal fin. And you see in the figure, it's pointed there to the forward. This unusual location, the unusual location of this fin suggests a purpose unrelated to movement through the water. Interesting. It may be employed in shifting sand beneath the surface or in mating rituals. Or it may simply be an evolutionary dead end, i.e. a vestigial feature. That's what we'd call a vestigial feature, if that's what it is. Number 2, segmented exoskeleton. Thick armor plating renders the sand shark almost immune to attack from above. While it is capable of impressive acceleration, its exoskeleton prevents it from changing direction quickly. The sand shark is thus a perfectly suited ambush hunter, but ill-suited to sustained pursuits. And we do see that. It kind of flails about when it is, after it's been going after something for a little bit. Something being usually me. Feet, ill-designed for ambulation, likely used to disturb the surface of the sand so the life form can burrow into the ground. Assessment, avoid, be vigilant for ambush in sandy biomes. I didn't even notice the feet. Look at it. It does have feet on the bottom. Not like coelacanth feet, but they are feet nonetheless. The stalker, there's our buddy. If you are having trouble finding stalker teeth, I've got a separate video up all about that now. You might want to check that out. Stalker, a streamlined predator encountered in the kelp forests in weight of prey, leaving the safety of the shallows to feed. It kind of reminds me of a sawfish in some ways. The stalker likely carved out its evolutionary niche at the sweet spot between speed and size millions of years ago, and may be one of the oldest species on the planet. Notice in the threat level, he is slightly less threat than the sand shark. And I think I've demonstrated at this point that they generally are not something you need to worry about too much. The stalker appears to be attracted to titanium deposits, which tends to sharpen and put stress on its teeth. Key info. As with many predators, it may be possible to temporarily distract hungry stalkers by feeding them. Or give them some titanium. 1. Teeth. The stalker's teeth are unusually hard and fast-growing. Its elongated snout can deliver huge biting pressure to large attackers, while also being used to reach small herbivores seeking refuge amongst the rocks. 2. Night vision. Retinal layering on the eyeball suggests adaptation for nighttime hunting. 3. Dorsal ridges. These ridges can be moved independently to deliver superior maneuverability. 4. Pelvic fins. Long and powerful. The stalker has evolved to hunt the fastest of prey. Assessment. Stalker teeth may have applications in enameled glass fabrication. And again, there he is. Stalker teeth. Extended analysis of acquired dental samples has been completed. Samples matched to species designated stalker. Stalker teeth exhibit extraordinary lightness and strength and contain only trace amounts of calcium. The edges show signs of wear and are studded with metal flakes, providing evidence that the stalkers chew on metal deposits in order to sharpen their teeth. Assessment. Applications as a natural substrate in enameled glass fabrication. So those are all the carnivores we've found thus far. And let's see. Let's read the herbivores. Gastropod. A slow-moving life form and one of the larger herbivores on the planet. Providing a substantial meal to would-be predators, the gasopod protects its domain by filling the surrounding water with poisonous, corrosive pods whose contents dissolve even synthetic fibers. Number 1, filtration system. Thick, non-reactive skin and multiple gill layers render this creature impervious to the noxious acid clouds it produces. 2, algae gland, a bulbous sac-like appendage on the rear end. A luminescent yellow algae grows inside the sac and produces the poisonous compound. Abdominal muscles can contract, causing the algae gland to emit the noxious compound into the surrounding water. And you do have to watch out for that, but you basically have to go out of your way for this to be a threat. 3, large pelvic fins, capable of powerful movement through the water when moving in small herds. There are not 3 fins, it's just item number 3. Behavior. Gasopods appear to be social in nature and may even use their emissions in their relationship rituals. Their audible calls are likely signifiers of nearby threats or food sources. Assessment. Approach with caution. Acidic pods may be retrieved and repurposed. Rabbit ray. This guy's super cool. Look at him. An herbivorous aquatic life form. Rabbit rays appear to live serene and solitary lives with few predators, a natural sense of curiosity, and awesomely poisonous flesh. And number 1, ears. Twin orange appendages mounted on the head sense vibration in the water. Number 2, undulating wings. Markedly similar method of transportation to that of Earth rays. Earth should be capitalized there. 0 genetic resemblance detected, suggesting these 2 species independently developed similar solutions to their environmental circumstances. Evidence indicates its large side-facing eyes are relatively recent adaptations. It is likely there are related ray species in other environmental biomes on this planet. Assessment: inedible, but harmless. Okay, how about small herbivores? What do we got? We got the ii, an extreme evolutionary adaptation where 90% of the life form's body mass is dedicated to the ocular cavity. How queer. 1, oversized eyeball. Deep-set rings in the lens suggest specialization for identifying its predators in low-light environments long before they come into attack range. 2, underdeveloped fins. Incapable of fast movement, this species is vulnerable to agile predators at close range. Shark species may have evolved hunting techniques to close on the ii unseen from above, below, or behind. This organism and the common peeper share a common evolutionary ancestor. While the ii has sacrificed maneuverability, it shares and enhances its cousin's powerful eyesight. The ancestral alpha peeper may have been one of the first life forms on 4546b to develop eyesight many millions of years ago. Assessment: edible, low-calorie content. Garyfish, look at this guy. Slow-moving and curious herbivore, camouflage indicates adaptation for evasive behavior on the ocean floor. 1, eye stalks. May be beneficial when watching for predators from hiding places amongst the coral. Behavior: more active during daylight, but slow and docile at all times. The garyfish's survival depends on a combination of camouflage and predators who can get a more filling meal elsewhere. Wholefish, this guy's super cool. Look at him. A very small herbivore found in low numbers, often around cave system entrances, where their skin coloration blends into the background. 1, bored out tail fin. By manipulating the size and shape of the hole in its tail, it can perform unpredictable maneuvers. Fascinating. Size: smaller than most other herbivores, presumably due to lack of vegetation in low-light environments. Assessment: edible. Hoopfish. This is another iconic species. Small, school mentality prey fish with a unique method of propulsion and a distant relative of the bladderfish. 1. Antennae. Rather than swimming, this life form uses the fine green antennae which encircle its body to alter the composition of the water in front of it, allowing it to sail into the low-density space created. Interesting. 2. Purple-green coloration may be a camouflage adaptation for mid-range light wavelengths, possibly indicating the hoopfish is more active at dawn and dusk. That would mean it is a crepuscular critter. 3. Behavior. While schools of hoopfish will form periodically and evade predators en masse, this behavior is more social than it is defensive, and lone hoopfish are often found hunting for food and displaying generally curious behavior. Assessment: edible. Hoverfish. Isn't this guy's so cute? A small, cautious herbivore commonly found in kelp-rich environments. Charged foot pads. 6 unique limb appendages feature charged pads capable of ionizing the surrounding water. The hoverfish uses this ability to maintain its position against the current as it feeds from kelp and lichen. Assessment: edible. All right, so that's got all of our small herbivores. Let's see. We've only encountered 1 leviathan so far. We've been lucky. We could have encountered at least another one. This one is not dangerous. Reefback leviathan. This vast life form is in excess of 30 meters long and has been designated Leviathan class. Fortunately, it feeds exclusively on plankton-like life forms in the water. 1. Chitinous shell. Most of the life form's topside and some of its underside is protected by a thick, layered exoskeleton. This suggests an evolutionary path quite different from other organisms on 4546b, most of which are vertebrate in nature. The reefback species has likely been able to grow far larger than other herbivores because anything large enough to break through its shell has long gone extinct. 1. 2. Enzyme pods. Similar in appearance to the algae glands of the gasopod, these organs on the reefback's underside serve some unknown purpose in its digestive system and are capable of expelling small quantities of stomach enzymes into the surrounding waters. 3. Local microcosm. An array of different barnacle and plant species grow on the reefback shell, thrusting their roots into ancient scars in the chitin and taking advantage of their mobility to avoid predation. Nonetheless, reefbacks will often be pursued by the faster, hungrier herbivores, and thus this leviathan species is a mobile microcosm worthy of years of study in itself. 4. Life cycle. Reefbacks' lifespans likely extend through many centuries should they survive their initial growth cycle. For the first few decades, their smaller size would make them vulnerable to carnivorous leviathans. Sociable, even traveling in small pods and communicating by an echoing call. Behavior is consistent with low-level sentience. Assessment: harbors plants, small fish, and metal-rich barnacles. The bleeder. And there's our favorite guy, right? A simple parasitic organism, little more complex than the common space tick, but just as dirty. 1. Ductile sac, used for collection and digestion of blood drawn from host creatures. 2. Jaw, rows of teeth and mandibles used to attach to the skin of its victims. 3. Behavior. The bleeder's low speed and poor defenses suggest they have evolved primarily as carrion feeders, but they are also prone to target larger living creatures, which are less likely to notice and take action against the parasite. Assessment: inconvenient and unhygienic. Avoid or incapacitate. Probably a good call there. Cave crawler. This is our buddy from the Aurora, and presumably in caves, but we haven't been to a cave yet, at least a terrestrial cave. Cave crawler is an agile, territorial carrion feeder, well adapted to both land and sea. 1. Gas exchange membrane. Absorbs essential gases from the air or water for basic body regulation. 2. Mandibles. This species seeks out corpses in packs before defending its claim while the corpses are devoured. Assessment. Necessary waste recycler. Avoid or incapacitate. We'll do that. Here's the old floater. 2 species living in symbiosis, which attach to and attempt to feed on any objects they come into contact with. 1. Dominant life form. The pink main body and inner suction jaw is the dominant creature. Once attached to an organism or other stable surface, it will attempt to leach nutrients in order to grow. 2. Microorganism membrane. The outer gel-like substance is a mesh of microorganisms capable of forming a sealed vacuum around the creature's jaws. 3. Helium buffer. A thin layer of helium is stored within the outer membrane, providing buoyancy to the floater and anything it is attached to. Assessment. May aid in flotation of sunken objects. Shuttlebug. Look at that guy. A common scavenger at the base of the food chain. 1. Mouthparts. Small enough to be of little threat to most organisms, this creature is clearly adapted to feed on the waste products of the ecosystem around it. 2. 3 mandibles. Used to orient themselves when drifting and to filter through detritus on cave floors. 3. 3 legs. High-strength muscles can propel the life form great distances through the water, as well as ambulating them across the sea floor. Assessment. Necessary waste recycler. Presence may indicate nearby cave systems. All right, and we have Flora. Let's go ahead and look at them. We've already read these, although, I could read these for this little section of the video. I could read them again. Why not? Acid mushroom, a common spore-bearing fungi species. The flesh contains a highly acidic compound, which leaches into the water if the outer skin is penetrated. It is not clear which predator species necessitated such extreme countermeasures, but the acid mushroom's numbers suggest it has successfully deterred most of them. Assessment. Inedible. Acid has applications in battery fabrication. Creepvine, a kelp species concentrated in large forests in shallow sandy waters. Loose roots anchor the plant to the seafloor, from where it grows steadily toward the surface in pursuit of sunlight. The stem is fibrous and rich in iron, making it both a viable base material for fabrication of textile as well as basic foodstuff. Assessment. Vital alien resource. Edible. Construction applications. And the creepvine seeds. There's something about these that's just so satisfying to look at. I don't know. Mature creepvine plants that have survived the predation of small herbivores produce these bioluminescent seed clusters, which may be knocked loose by currents or consumed and later deposited by predators. The embryo is surrounded by a thick oil and silicon layer, which would disperse into the ground as the outer skin deteriorated. This may provide the seedling with the nutrients it needs to survive the low-light conditions on the seabed. Assessment. Vital alien resource. Construction applications. Gel sac. These organic structures grow on cave walls. The purple sacs, which arise from the surface, contain a low-density gel laced with spores. These burst from time to time, floating towards the surface and attaching onto the next rock face they encounter. While the gel sac is edible, its low density renders it an invaluable advanced construction material. Assessment. Edible. Aerogel construction applications. Yep. Gel sac and a ruby, I think, is what you need for aerogel. Sulfur plant. Let's read it again. These plants appear to serve as nests for the explosive organisms which guard them. The crashfish. The outer petals are undamaged by the presence of the inhabiting creature, suggesting a complex co-development. The plant has evolved to feed on nutrients and minerals deposited within it by the fish. Sulfuric deposits on the inner leaves provide an insight into the mechanism by which the creatures explode. Assessment. Sulfur has applications in construction of the repair tool. Alrighty, let's see. We have some sea flora here. Blue palm. The blue palm is a common aquatic plant which thrives in shallower waters with high exposure to sunlight. Long fronds intercept light before it can reach the smaller flora on the seabed. Drooping stinger. Number 1. 0 photosynthetic cells detected implies carnivorous adaptation to low-light environments. 2. Follicles along the tentacles are capable of detecting contact with foreign bodies, triggering an electromagnetic charge in the 600-watt range. Prey is likely paralyzed and consumed over many weeks. Prey, small fish. Assessment, avoid. So this is not a cnidarian like a jellyfish. It doesn't have nematocysts, which fire off little micro darts. This is actually an electrical critter. Interesting. Eye stalk. This is a beautiful thing. A cave-dwelling tuber dotted with luminescent photosensitive eyes. These eyes may in some way direct the twisted growth of the stems themselves, possibly in reaction to other light sources, proximity of cave walls, or other environmental conditions. So that those eyes remind me very much of the eye spot in a microscopic critter called Euglena. Furled papyrus. The function of the distinctive curled leaves on this aquatic plant is not immediately clear. It is possible the leaves unfurl in low-light conditions, or that they are designed to channel water currents through the main body of the plant, thus enhancing nutrient take-up. Redwort. A common plant adaptable to many different environments, the redwort is a staple part of the diet of many small herbivores. A regress shell. This specimen is composed of a complex series of regressing rings connected by tendrils. Rouge cradle. A complex cave-dwelling flora specimen. The bright yellow core of this plant is protected by a rigid cage, presumably to ward off medium-sized herbivores. Sea crown. This plant consists primarily of a large bladder-like sac containing a huge variety of bacterial species, which may enable it to break down complex compounds that it draws from the root system. Shares large sections of genetic code with the membrane tree. Environment scans indicate this plant is rare to the point of extinction. Tiger plant. This plant has adapted to sense fluctuations in the water at up to 15 meters and is capable both of prehensile movement of its tubes as well as the propelling of thorns at speeds up to 10 meters per second. Although capable of incapacitating small herbivores, this plant lacks carnivorous digestive organs. Would-be predators caught in its defensive perimeter serve as a warning to other herbivores not to approach, and then as they decompose, they serve as fertilizer for the tiger plant. Assessment: avoid or incapacitate. Veined nettle. A common shallow water plant which frequently shows signs of predation around the edges of the leaves. Thick violet veins carry nutrients to the extremities of the fan, and brightly colored seeds glow around the base and stem. Violet bow. A common luminescent plant which grows in patches on the seabed. Writhing weed. Well adapted to both shallow waters and cave systems, this plant lives in symbiosis with a coral species which forms around the base of the stems. All right, and with that, we have read all of our databank entries thus far. Now, back to the game. All right, here we are. Lifepod 19. Let's see what kind of damage we can do. I'll leave the light on. Now that we know that there's a data pad here, we'll grab it.
Integrating new PDA data.
Grab this lithium. What is our inventory looking like? We're okay. I mean, we'll get that. We got a gel sack over here. Oh, we got a thing. Let me get the gel sack. All right. Ultra high capacity tank. Sweet. We'll put that to use. You got some eye stalks here. Oh. And the tiger plant. Watch out. We don't want to get thorned. All right. There's Reginald. Let's get him. Okay. Let's see what we can find in here. PDA.
Signal location uploaded to PDA. Integrating new PDA data. Integrating new PDA data.
Not seeing anything here. All right, back to the sea moth, I think. There's some more gel sacks and rubies over there. I mean, we'll get them eventually, but there's a Reginald. I'll leave him. Okay. Let's check these PDAs, shall we? Aurora survivors. Lifepod 19, Second Officer Keen's crew log. To all crew, if you are reading this, then you have followed the automatic distress signal broadcast by this Lifepod's onboard computer, contrary to my orders. I have been forced to evacuate. Your orders are to disregard my safety and attempt to reach the designated rendezvous coordinates at the nearest landmass. I hope to see you there. We also have a voice log. Let us listen in.
Keen, this is Aurora. Come in. This is Keen. Lifepod detached to OK planet fall in 30 seconds. The computer has identified a landmass at the attached coordinates. I want you to regroup the crew there. Understood, but they are your responsibility now. Don't let them down. Captain, you need to evacuate. Negative. You'll need the ship in one piece if you're going to contact HQ on the long range. I'm attempting a controlled descent. Captain!
Okay, well, at least to the best of our knowledge, we do know that the captain went down with the ship. And not only that, but he was attempting to make it a little bit better for us in the process. So at least what we know now, we can say that our captain was a fine man indeed. All right, what do we have here that's a new blueprint? Oh, yes, the tank. The new tank. Let's check it. Here it is. Ultra high capacity tank. We only need 4 lithium for this, which I'm pretty sure we have back at base. And of course, the high capacity tank, which we are wearing right now. So this will be something to make right quick. You know, I've noticed a couple of inconsistencies with the fabricator. I mentioned that when you make a wiring kit, the model that actually shows up on the fabricator is of the advanced wiring kit. Likewise, when we made the high capacity O2 tank, the model for the ultra high capacity tank showed up. Remember, it was a big tripartite tank. You'd think that that wouldn't be a thing. If the game, I think, has been finished, right? There's no more updates coming for this one. So I don't know if that's an oversight or what. Anyhow, the Ultra Glide fins, we'll need to make these as well, which we can easily do. And again, these are mod station things you make at the modification station, which we haven't made yet because we really need more room in the base for that. Okay, we do have the modification station plan, right? No, we do not. We still need 2 blueprints, but that's okay. We'll get it. All right, so what have we learned? We have learned that, let's see, let's fix the sea moth here. These inconsiderate bleeders have been attacking. All right, let's just go on up. Get out of here. So we know that the crew was going to attempt to gather on an island or landmass of some kind. So let's see if we can figure that out. What kind of destinations do we have? Well, we have signal from Lifepod 17. That is near a cave. We want to check that out. There is the place where we're at right now. The Aurora rendezvous point on dry land. That we could go there, or we could go in the cave. Either one is fine. Both are far from here, but that's okay. That's no big deal. In fact, let's go ahead and I'm going to change this to yellow. And well, that one's yellow. Let's change this one to orange so that it stands out a little better. Okay, see, there it is. How far away are you? 294. Actually, that's not far. I guess since we're close to this point of dry land, we could go check it out. Why not? Well, hey, look there. How convenient.
Here I am, man, all alone again. Anchored away, the hell I'm gone again. Another mile from another town. The wind northeast, the rain coming down. Home is the sailor, home from the sea. He's a home for the mildew, a friend to the flea. I don't care, man, I'm happy. I got an old fat boat, she's slow but handsome, hard in the chine and soft in the transom. I love her well, she must love me, but I think it's only for my money. No more tobacco, no more cheese. I'm sprung in the back and lame in the knees. It's a damn good thing I'm easy to please. There ain't nothing in town on a Sunday. I don't care, man, I'm happy. I got an old fat boat, she's slow but handsome, hard in the chine and soft in the transom. I love her well, she must love me, but I think it's only for my money. And I don't mind staying and I don't mind going, but I'm damn tired of rowing. Yes, I don't mind staying and I don't mind going, but I'm damn tired of rowing. Well, mercy, mercy, I do declare, if half the fun of going is a getting there. Mercy, Percy, you better start rowing, 'cause the other half of getting there is going.